France and the US killed Qaddafi for his gold and oil. We came, we saw, and he died. That was Hillary Clinton's response when Muammar Gaddafi, the president of Libya, was captured and brutally killed. The public now fully understands how the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, transitioned from an integrated defense group to the new Barbary Coast Pirates of Colonialism with the recent revelation of Hillary Clinton's emails by WikiLeaks. To know more about the murder of Muammar Gaddafi, just continue watching the video. For more content like this, subscribe to our channel Geopolitics and Money. And also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified whenever new videos are posted. The UN Security Council adopted Resolution 1973 during the 2011 uprising in Libya, calling for a ceasefire and approving military action to safeguard civilian lives. With the passage of the resolution on March 17, 2011, a coalition focused on NATO was established. Its goal was to establish a no-fly zone over Libya. Given that the United States is the country most responsible for the deaths of Arab civilians, it is ironic that the NATO military organization, which is dominated by the United States, would be concerned with protecting Arab people. John Perkins, America's well-known former economic hitman, has addressed the true causes of the attack in the most clear manner. According to Perkins, the war in Libya is related to power and the control of resources, including gold in addition to oil, just like the invasion of Iraq. Africa's greatest level of life is found in Libya. The IMF claims that the central bank of Libya is entirely controlled by the state. According to the IMF's estimation, the bank's vaults contain close to 144 tons of gold, Perkins wrote. NATO went there to steal Libya's riches, acting like contemporary Barbary Coast pirates. The Pan-Africanist Qaddafi, the previous leader of the African Union, had been promoting the use of the gold that was so abundant in South Africa and Libya to construct an African currency based on a gold dinar, according to Perkins and the Russian media. It is important that Muammar al-Gaddafi openly supported the formation of a new currency that would compete with the dollar and the euro in the months prior to the UN resolution that authorized the United States and its allies to send troops into Libya. In fact, he urged Muslim and African countries to create an alliance so that they might use the new gold dinar as their main medium of trade. Oil and other resources would only be sold to the US and the rest of the world in exchange for gold dinars, according to Perkins. A significant Clinton aide, Sidney Blumenthal, confirmed that Perkins was correct and that the attack on Libya had nothing to do with Qaddafi posing a threat to the United States or NATO, and everything to do with stealing his gold, in an email sent to Hillary on April 2, 2011, which was made public by WikiLeaks. According to Blumenthal, Qaddafi's gold was used to create an African currency based on the Libyan dinar, a valuable metal that had been hoarded before the present uprising. The goal of this strategy was to provide Francophone African countries, FACs, with a CFA alternative. Blumenthal explains the rationale for the NATO assault and France's imperial robbery. One of the things that led President Nicolas Sarkozy to decide to commit France to the war in Libya was the fact that French intelligence personnel learned of this plot not long after the current insurrection started. France's unlawful attack with NATO against Libya has 5 justifications. Blumenthal claims that Sarkozy wanted to address concerns from his advisors about Gaddafi's long-term plans to replace France as the dominant power in Francophone Africa. He also wanted to increase French influence in North Africa, improve his internal situation in France, give the French military a chance to make its presence felt abroad, and gain a larger share of Libya's oil production. They preferred to pay different African leaders to aid in the looting of their country's riches under the neo-colonialism that was supported after World War II throughout the Cold War era. Of course, the United States eliminated any hopes for a united Africa, as well as prospective leaders like Patrice Lumumba. Neoconservatives in the United States have long advocated this appropriation of African and Arab resources and the massacre of Arab citizens. With scant consideration for Arab deaths, the Project for the New American Century has a hit list of Arab countries. Prior to 2011, Libya had gained economic independence, possessing its own resources such as food, water, oil, money, and a state-owned bank. Under Qaddafi, it went from being one of the poorest to becoming the richest nation in Africa. Free healthcare and education were provided, owning property was viewed as a fundamental human right, and local democracy was practiced in Libya. The Great Man-Made River Project, which carried water from the desert to the towns and coastal areas, was the greatest irrigation system in the world, and Qaddafi was starting a drive to expand this model throughout Africa. Before we move on, for more interesting content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified whenever new videos are posted. However, that was prior to U.S. NATO forces bombing the irrigation infrastructure and devastating the nation. When President Obama was in office, the situation in Libya was so severe that he ordered his advisors to come up with ideas, including opening a new military front there. According to reports, the Defense Department was ready to conduct the full spectrum of military operations required. If we're talking about the declared objective of humanitarian intervention, then the Secretary of State's victory lap was unwarranted. Yet another goal for the Libyan conflict was exposed by Clinton's emails, and it appears that this one was also accomplished. Western interests did not take Qaddafi's promised attempt to create an independent African currency lightly. According to reports, Sarkozy referred to the Libyan leader as a danger to global financial stability in 2011. How could this 6 million-person nation be such a threat? Initially, some governments in the background did not produce the majority of the money in Western countries. Banks did. Through the fractional reserve lending mechanism, this has been happening for millennia. The reserves were first held in gold. President Franklin D. Roosevelt replaced gold with reserves generated by central banks in 1933, although gold continued to be the reserve currency globally. Libya's state-owned bank was financing the project interest-free and without incurring any foreign debt. That might account for the destruction of this crucial piece of infrastructure in 2011. NATO attacked the pipeline as well as the plant that made the pipes needed to repair it, completing the job. It hardly seems like humanitarian assistance to shut down civilian irrigation infrastructure that serves up to 70% of the population. In contrast, as Canadian professor Maximilian Forte stated in his exhaustively researched book, Slouching Toward Sirte, NATO's War on Libya and Africa, in order to promote more African independence, the U.S. military's involvement sought to sabotage a burgeoning pattern of independence and a network of collaboration inside Africa. This is in opposition to the U.S. and other extracontinental European states' geostrategic and economic objectives. Hillary Clinton's emails provided insight into a further mystery that was raised by early critics. In 2011, Robert Wenzel published an article in the Economic Policy Journal. Without the release of Hillary Clinton's emails following an FBI investigation, the situation would have stayed there, suspicious but unproven, like so many other tales of fraud and corruption. They significantly support Newman's assumptions that the purpose of the violent intervention was not primarily to ensure the safety of the populace. It concerned money, energy, and the safety of international banking. That's all for today. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. Also, express your valuable thoughts in the comments section below. Until then, bye. Also, spend some time watching other videos on the channel.